We'd like to wish each and every one of you a fond aloha. We are on 7 different platforms every morning from Hawaii, and this is our home right here in Honolulu. So we'd like to wish you aloha. We say aloha here in Hawaii. Now, what is epigenetics? So we're going to be talking about that today. Good morning, Reggie. We're going to be talking about epigenetics and its relation to the subconscious. And the subconscious, is, of course, is responsible for your manifestation. Or we can say it another way. We can say that your subconscious is responsible for achieving your goals, for manifesting your goals. Okay, now how is this, how does epigenetics play into it? Well, epigenetics refers to changes in gene expression. It's not about changing your DNA, okay? But it is about how your DNA gets fired, okay? It's like switches, like switches or dimmers, like which parts of your DNA get activated. And this is the study of epigenetics. So those switches that happen, that turn on and off, that activate certain parts of your DNA are affected by nutrition, stress levels, trauma, beliefs, your mindset is largely responsible, and that's why we're teaching mindset. We teach mindset every morning. So this your beliefs, as far as what you believe, is in your subconscious, right? And also sleep is also important, and exercise. So good morning, Jay. And so why is this so important to understand this? Like epigenetics, isn't that like a huge thing? No, it's not really. It's because your subconscious and conscious mind, okay, the conscious mind is only responsible for like 5%. Okay, so 5% of your life is your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is responsible for like 95% of your life. Okay, because you don't have to learn how to drive the car every day. You don't have to learn how to eat every day. Okay, so all of these things are committed to the subconscious. Your subconscious is a culmination of all of your senses. So it memorizes everything, and you do everything from memory. So epigenetics and the subconscious and how it works is the subconscious mind is heavily influenced by genetic expression. And these are switches within your DNA that get activated based upon what you believe or what you put in your subconscious. Okay, so your beliefs and emotions, okay, many of which are in the subconscious, right, as core beliefs or as installed beliefs. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. Okay, so now these create chemical responses in the body. Okay, responses like cortisol, the fight or flight hormone. Okay, when we do the vocalization exercise, it involves oxytocin and endorphins. Okay, because your neurotransmitters will fire these hormones and it will begin to calm the brain. Okay, so when we talk about affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization, it's that vocalization process pushing tones with force, okay, that stimulate the neurotransmitters and release the hormones. So that's how that works. Now, stress hormones, okay, come from subconscious fears. So your fears, okay, when you get a thought, a fearful thought, the emotion follows the thought. Okay, now when you get a thought, what happens? Well, your body chemistry begins to change. Why? Because cortisol gets released. Okay, so if you're always in fear, okay, of something, if you're always fearing, then your body is always producing cortisol. You're not at ease. You're in dis-ease. Okay, and when this happens, you need to remedy this. And you need to learn how to relax, because otherwise your genetic expression is going to reflect that stress. So this is where we say, in very broad terms, and we're not making medical claims or anything like that, but in very broad terms, if you hold everything in, if you're fearful, okay, when you're fearful, a lot of times people hold that in. We don't want to let everybody know that we're scared of something, right? So we kind of hold it in. Sometimes when we're angry, we hold it in. Okay, we hold it in, we keep it to ourselves, but we're angry. So resentment is another one. Resentment is a mild form of anger that just continues like that. It's like an undercurrent, resentment. Okay, because it's not direct anger. It's like underneath the surface, but it's there and it's constant. Now when that happens, what happens? Well, your body reacts to it. It fires different genetic switches within your DNA. Some people get sick. When they hold in anger for too long, they get sick. Maybe some kind of cancer or some kind of something, disease pops up. And sometimes there's no name for it. Sometimes people come up with these rare diseases. And they go, what happened? He was so healthy. But they don't know what's going on in here. The prison is in here. This is why affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization is so important. Chronic stress from your subconscious can act out in many different ways. Okay? So this process also, this when you're worried, you're scared, you're fearing, it activates certain genes for inflammation, aging, just basically overall dis-ease in general. So a number of things are possible when you're in a state of dis-ease, when you're not at ease. If you're in dis-ease, that means your body is not at peace. You can say it that way. It's not at peace. And if it's not at peace, then the goal should be to get it at peace, because otherwise, good morning, Garrett, because otherwise, right, you're going to have problems. You will have problems. And those problems can act out in a number of ways. There's no specific way, there's no specific things that, well, if you're in fear, this will happen. If you're in fear, that will happen. No. It's like if you're in fear, a whole number of things could happen. It's not just like, one thing, okay? Emotions, okay? So we're talking about manifestation, the subconscious. So what you install in your subconscious, the things that you believe, a belief is a thought you keep thinking, goes into your subconscious, right? Now, these emotions, desires, come into reality. How? Through action. People take action. First you think it, then you do it, right? But here's where the epigenetics fit in. Okay, so thoughts become biology. Your beliefs, subconscious, right, influence your body's chemistry. And when that happens, it affects your health, your energy, vibration, all of that. Now, we don't want to say that manifestation is just some kind of magic thing that happens. No, we always describe that process here. It starts in your conscious mind, which is only responsible for 5% of your life, okay? But your conscious mind is the gatekeeper. You can say no to a thought. You can stop the thought from happening. When you begin to think the thought, right, or you get that flash, that impulse on the thought, you can actually dismiss it. Just say no. And when you dismiss it, what happens? It stops. Does it come around? The beat. See? So that's a reframe. Refocus means to take your focus from here and focus it on this. So what I do is I have a screensaver on my phone. Okay, this one is actually Mark 11:24 on my phone. The how is always God's job. Ask, believe, receive. Mark 24. So what happens is when I have this lock screen on my phone, because I have several, but when I have this one on and I get a bad thought or something I don't want to focus on, now I'm here to tell you, if you start filtering your thoughts, if you start controlling your thoughts, you can control your life. But it takes a little practice. So let's say I get a bad thought. Let's say the thought was about, I don't know, the stock market going down and losing money. Let's say it was that. Okay. As soon as I get the thought, like, oh, the Dow might go down today, right? I say stop. and I pick up my phone, and when I pick up my phone, it automatically goes on. It has a, yeah, like that, right? It automatically goes on when I lift it up. And I look at it, and I remind myself that the how is always God's job. See, now it could be something else. It could be a picture of a baby, it could be a picture of a significant other, it could be a picture of your dog, it could be a picture of anything. Okay, it could be a picture of money. If you're trying to bring money into your life, it goes into your subconscious. It's not witchcraft. It's not that kind of stuff. It's not voodoo or anything, mysticism stuff. It's not that. It's your subconscious. Everybody has one. You just need to know how to use it and how to make it benefit you, okay, or use it to your benefit. You want to say it that way. So, refocus, okay. So the refocus. So the focus now is not on the negative thought. You say stop. You pick up your phone. You look at whatever you have here, and you focus on that. Now you've distracted yourself away from the negative thought. And that's how that works. Okay? Because if not, then your neurochemicals start firing. Your hormones start flooding your brain. Okay? You start getting that fight or flight feeling. Okay? Cortisol levels go up. You get tense. So the fight or flight syndrome is like when when there's a tiger, you want to run, right? When there's a tiger around, you want to run. Well, most of us don't live around tigers, but then yeah. So it's a real concern, because if you live like this, right, your body can do all kinds of stuff. Okay, your vibration, your emotions. Okay, because we speak of vibration in the spiritual sense, not in the scientific sense, not in the resonance sense. But your emotions, your vibe, right, is not going to be cheerful, is not going to be happy, it's not going to attract things into your life if underneath the surface you're worried or you're stressed. Okay, and the stress hormones get released when that happens. So this is how epigenetics fits into the subconscious. Whatever the subconscious believes is going to keep, your subconscious will keep pointing out the evidence to you. So if you're afraid of, I don't know, cockroaches, whatever, spiders, your subconscious will look for evidence of spiders. Your reticular activating system in your brainstem will filter out everything else and start pointing out spiders. And pretty soon you go, wow, I never knew there were so many spiders around my house. I never knew there were so many spiders outside. There's always the same number. It's just that your reticular activating system is your focus mechanism. It will help you focus. It's more like a filter, but you will focus on what it filters into you, and you will miss what it filters out. Okay, so it's like that syndrome that I always talk about when you go online, you see this nice red BMW convertible, and you go, wow, I really like that car. Pretty soon you start seeing a bunch of red BMW convertibles. It's not a phenomenon. It's not something, it's not mystical or magical or anything like that. It's your reticular activating system. It happens. Okay. So an aligned state of manifestation is when you align the conscious, the subconscious, and superconscious. For this discussion, the superconscious, and I always have to make this clear so people don't misunderstand this, the superconscious is reference to God. And, many people have different opinions about that, okay? They believe in a different way. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, either way, you're a believer. But for the sake of this discussion and this live, we always say that the superconscious represents God. So there is only the conscious, the superconscious, and the subconscious. So if you want to look at this like a computer, so the conscious mind would be your operating system, the subconscious would be your hard drive where the programs are stored, and the superconscious is the network that we're all plugged into. We're all plugged into it? Yeah, sure. Where? In here. This energy that we have. We are all small units of the superconscious. And that's what we have in common. Whatever you call this, you're not your body, you're not your name. You're that energy that lives in here. Your body just carries that around. If you want to call this your spirit, okay. But your body carries that around. Out of 8 billion spirits on the planet, every single one is different. Every single one. No two are the same. Okay, so, that's part of what we, part of what we recognize in our teachings. We recognize that. Okay, so we point it out and we say that, well, you have this energy and you're unique in here. Okay, and this is what brings you everything. Now, how does it bring you something? Let's talk about manifestation for a second. Is it like rubbing a magic lamp? Well, you might say, because it's your subconscious. Whatever you put into your subconscious as a belief, okay, will affect your paradigm. So let's look at the subconscious tree. Okay, so your belief are the roots of the tree, whatever you believe to be true about the world. That will shape your attitude or how you see the world. That's the trunk of the tree. The fruits of the tree up here are your actions that bring results. Now, the fruits of the tree up here, okay, whatever you do with these actions, you will have results. And the definition of insanity is to do the same actions over and over. You have to change the way your actions are being executed. Or let's say it an easier way, okay, an easier way to say it. You have to change what you do to affect what you get. If you're doing the same thing, the same way, you're going to get the same stuff all day long. But when you are in an aligned state, that is suggesting that your conscious mind is working in concert, okay, or in synergy with your subconscious mind. And what happens? Well, you start to affect your paradigm. You start to change your paradigm or the way you see things, your attitude about things. What happens, when you hear people say, oh, you got to change your attitude, you have a bad attitude. It's because that attitude, whatever they recognize, whatever they're pointing out, is not conducive to what they want or their goals. So your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, when they work together, now you have the right kind of thoughts that are conducive to your beliefs. Okay, in other words, they're not contradicting each other. Because you can't say, I want a new car, and then immediately think like, yeah, but I don't know if I can afford it. It's a limiting belief. If you say, I want a new car, and then the next thought is, yeah, but I wonder how I could do that. That's a limited belief. You have to come from faith. You have to come from, I know I'm going to do it. Like, this is going to happen. You have to come from that perspective. Why? Because the superconscious is real. Now you have aligned thought from the conscious mind to the subconscious. There's no contradiction. Okay, so the idea comes into the conscious mind. The conscious mind thinks, okay, new car. Subconscious goes, I believe it will happen. Okay, now it's a belief in the subconscious. Now what happens with the superconscious? What does the superconscious do? The superconscious works with the subconscious, or we could say it a different way. God starts to lay out the path for you. Okay, so if you believe in God or whoever you believe in, a higher power, higher self, infinite intelligence, that's what the superconscious is. And that's when you start meeting the right people. That's when the right circumstances start popping up. Coincidence? No. You're not living a random life. Your life path is unfolding from within. From within. Okay, Jesus Christ said the kingdom is within. It's not out here. God's kingdom is not up in the sky. It's in here. And when you start operating from within, when you start seeking from within, when Jesus said, "Seek and ye shall find," he wasn't talking about hide and go seek. He wasn't talking about, okay, I'm going to go through the town until I find what I'm looking for. No. No, you go within. You go within so you don't go without. You go within so you attract the blessings that you need. So everything comes to us from God through others. And it's all according to what you believe in your subconscious. If you believe you're worth it in your subconscious, if you believe you're worthy, say it another way. If you believe you can do it, that's another way to say it. If you believe in yourself, that's another way to say it. Because in here, in the kingdom, you're a co-creator with God. You're a partner with God. To create, you're a creator. You're a co-creator. So when you're in a good mood, when you're cheerful, when you're happy, now you're projecting a good vibe, a good vibration. When people in the spiritual community talk about higher and lower vibrations are just bad stuff. Because bad things or bad conditions bring bad feelings. And then you feel bad. And then you feel down. And you feel low. And you feel worthless. In order to feel worthy, what has to happen? You have to affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. That's how I accomplished every single thing in my life. Money would not have come if I just sat there and thought, oh, geez, I don't know if this is going to work or not. I didn't know how to do anything in my life. Nothing. I had natural gifts. I had natural talent. I had natural thinking, natural brains. But I dropped out of college. When I started my first company, I did not know how. When I started the second company, I did not know how. When I started my third company, my record label, I did not know how. When I started the consulting company, I did not know how. You know, I told this story at the beginning of the week. When I started my consulting company, my first client, a national chain of drugstores, popped up in my other business. So it was right there. And I think the reason why I want to mention this is because sometimes what you want, what you need is right there and you don't see it. Why? Because it didn't come up in conversation, maybe. I did not know that the district manager's wife was bringing her daughter to my singing school. And when I created my consulting company, he was my first client. Which led to a consulting agreement, which led to being a consultant of a national chain as my first client. Like, wow, how does that happen? Coincidence? I don't think so. Because either you live a random life, right, where everything happens to you, or based upon what's in your subconscious, based upon your faith, based upon your believing, you start taking steps and doors start opening and your life path is unfolding from within, like this. Your life doesn't happen to you like this. If this is how your life is happening to you, if this is how you perceive it, you're suffering from victim mentality. Because this suggests that everything keeps happening to me. You know, I gotta dodge everything that happens because it's happening to me like this. Like I gotta look out. I gotta, watch out for the next thing, right? Life doesn't work that way. It's what's in your subconscious. It's what you believe. Now you can change what you believe all day long. Just take one of these and start. I am so happy and grateful now that I am confident. Confidence is at the core of my teaching. Why? Because confidence is an inner relaxed feeling. Confidence is living life in neutral. You ever see those guys that are like just chill, they're just laid back, and everything comes to them? They're just chill, they're just laid back kind of people. They don't look like they're aggressively accomplishing anything. And things just fall in their lap. Things just come. Things real easy. It's because they're not efforting. In other words, they're not trying to manipulate God on their behalf. You ever see people that do that? They want God to do this. They want God to do that. They want God to do the other thing. And what they're doing is they're taking their thought process and they're applying it here and 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 it here. And God works like a GPS. Okay, when you're praying for this over here, and then you change your mind, and now you're praying for this over here 10 minutes from then, God works like a GPS. God goes, wait, hold on. What does a GPS do? It recalibrates, it spins in a circle. And then what happens? It lays out the perfect path for you. Try it next time. When you turn on your GPS, try it. It'll give you a path, and if you know the shortcut, you take the shortcut and watch the GPS recalibrate. That's how God works. And then it lays out the path according to where you're going. God works the same way. If you're going over here in this direction, okay, I'm going to pursue this job. And then pretty soon, right, doors start to open, and pretty soon you decide, I don't really want to do that job. I want to do the other one. And so now you change course and you go over here, and God goes, okay, wait. Now he's recalibrating, and then he lays out the perfect path. And then what happens? Well, as you're taking the steps, the doors begin to open over there. Doors only open when you step towards what you want. Let's say it another way. When you step towards your goal. Let's say it another way. When you have your final product in mind, when you have that goal fixed in your mind, when you know what that outcome looks like, and you start taking the steps, the doors will open, the right people will come into view. But you have to have faith. Faith is the cornerstone of manifestation. Faith is the big secret of the subconscious. Because if you don't have faith, if you don't believe you can, it's not going to happen. That's why Henry Ford said, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, either way you're correct. So it's up to you which one you want. Now, a lot of people are, tricked into thinking that choosing the right path is difficult. It's not. Acquiring good habits is very difficult. No, it's not. Your subconscious memorizes everything. Everything is committed to your subconscious if you think it enough. So it doesn't take a lot of energy to think right thoughts or good thoughts or positive thoughts or productive thoughts. It's just as easy as thinking negative thoughts or bad thoughts or destructive thoughts. But here's the thing. When your subconscious starts hearing destructive thoughts, let's say, it forms a habit. And pretty soon, that's what you're thinking, destructive thoughts. And then what happens? The subconscious keeps repeating it until the pattern is changed. Then what happens? Well, then, the roots of the tree, right? And then the trunk of the tree, that's how you look at the world. destructively. What are your actions up here? Destructive. The fruits of the tree, right? Your actions, destructive. What are your results? Destruction. You see? Thank you. Thanks, guys. So how do you get out of the destructive pattern? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. It's not hard to develop good habits. It's not difficult, really. It's not difficult to change your circumstances. I slept on a sidewalk. I was a street person. When I was 20 years old, I slept on a sidewalk for months. About 3 months. Did I blame God? No, I wasn't blaming God. I was having fun. I was having a lot of fun. It was an adventure. Was it a difficult adventure? Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it was. Sometimes there was no money. Absolutely no money. But the point is, when people see me in my chapter today and they go, "Oh, uncle, it's easy for you to say because, you're rich, or you have money, or you have things, or you have this, or you have that." And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I built this from the sidewalk. Of course, I had help from my family. That was later. Family doesn't help you when you're destructive. Family doesn't help you when you're toxic. No matter how much help a family gives to somebody, if they're in destructive mode or self-destructive mode, eventually that will outweigh everything. Everything. Because you're working against the current. You're working against what's coming in that's good. You're working against that. You're pushing it out, pushing it out. People ask me all the time, how do I make money stick? How do I ensure that things keep coming? Things go up and down. So you have to look for your rhythm. It's all about rhythm. Hi, Havana. Good morning. It's all about your rhythm. When money goes out, okay? Money doesn't come in all the time. Money is an energy. The energy surges and then it diminishes. Money comes in like the tide, right? And then it ebbs. It flows and ebbs, flows and ebbs. When money's going out, what do people do when money goes out? They start to worry. When money goes out, you know what I do? I go, okay, be patient, be patient. That's all you got to do is be patient. When you approach a situation that you're not sure of the outcome, all you have to do is be patient. And guess what? Most of the time, the situation will start to change. But people don't have patience. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. It's perception. Start to see things in a more positive light. They will change right in front of you. It'll go from the glass half empty to the glass half full. It doesn't do it right away. Sometimes you have to pull it like this with your mind. You have to pull it like that. I have to do that a lot. Don't be afraid to fail. I fail at least once a week, at least. If I'm not failing at least once a week, I'm not trying enough. Failure is a part of success. And success is relative. Some people tell me I'm a success. I don't feel like a success. I just feel like I'm working. A friend of mine used to own all the Jack in the Boxes and all the Jamba Juices in Hawaii. And we were sitting having coffee one day, and he had his laptop open, and I saw what he was collecting in real time, and I was amazed. And I said, dude, what does success at your level feel like? Because everybody's at a different level. Everybody's at a different stage of life, right? And I said, what does that feel like? He goes, dude, I don't know. I just go to work. That's humility. He wasn't bragging about himself. He was focused on our conversation about things. And my point is that some people's version of success is living in a log cabin away from society up on a mountain someplace, away from everything, and they consider themselves successful. Success is not about money. The Russian writer Leon Trotsky said, success is living your life in your own way. So the question is, what is your way? What's your way? My way used to be making people laugh. My way used to be entertaining people. But all along the way, I was teaching. You know, and pretty soon God said, okay, you had your fun. Come on, back to teaching. Here, teach. I did a podcast on it. I did a podcast that, was talking about I ran from teaching. My parents were teachers. So came down, epigenetics, genetics, right? There you go. So teaching is in my DNA. I saw this commercial a long time ago. I tell this story every once in a while on the lives. I saw this commercial once that we have in Hawaii. Well, we used to have it a long time ago. And it goes, my grandfather drove the milk truck. My dad drove the milk truck, and now I drive the milk truck. It's about milk truck drivers, a family of milk truck drivers. And my first thought, I was in my late 20s or something, and my first thought was, wow, this family has no ambition. And as I matured, as I grew older, I go, oh, some of these things are in the bloodline. There's natural tendencies. So in his family, the natural tendency was, okay, milk truck driver. We need milk truck drivers. We need the garbage men. If the garbage men don't pick up your rubbish, after about 2 weeks, you will worship the garbage man. You will worship him. Okay? Everybody is important in our society. Everybody has their gifts. Everybody has a contribution to make. And the easiest way to get ahead or to better your life or to bring blessings, if you want to say it that way, is to help someone else with their dreams first. Help someone else accomplish what they want to accomplish, their dream. And God will bring you your dream. It's automatic because of the superconscious, and we're all connected. If you want to call it a network, we're all in the same network. This is why when you're standing at a Starbucks or something and you get a feeling somebody's looking at you and you turn and you look and somebody's looking at you. You can feel it. We're all connected. Whatever you call this. Okay, you're not your body, you're not your name. You're that energy that lives in here. And you live this way one time. That's it. But once you understand the way the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious works, life gets easier. The stress is taken out. The anxiety is taken out. Does it come back? Yeah, once in a while. But once you do your affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization, guess what? You have the switch. You can turn it off. It's important to have the switch because you need to know when to turn it off. Some people bring their work home, they're overwhelmed, right? work starts creeping into the home. How does work-life balance happen? Well, you get the 50 percentile here, okay? This is work. This is personal life, okay? Now you got half-half over here. When you start taking work home, you're doing this, okay? Now we got 52%, right? We got 48% personal. And then, oh, let's do a little bit more work. Let's take some more home because I can catch up, right? Is that the thinking? Okay, there you go. Now your personal life is shrinking. Why? Because you have less time for you. You have less time for your family. You have less time. This leads to all kinds of problems, right? People start fighting, relationship problems, all of that because of this. They're going because most people feel, right? They get that feeling that they can catch up. Nobody told them to take work home and do work at home. Some people do that. Well, it's illegal, but some people do that. But most people just figure, well, if I just take a little bit home, right? Take a little bit home, take a little bit home, take a little bit home. Pretty soon, your life is out of balance. Why? Because you're doing way more work than living. Way more work than me time. Way more work than personal enjoyment time, family time, quality time. So how do you do that? You just be mindful and bring it back and know when it's starting to slip so that you can push it back. So when you start doing this and you start bringing work home and you have this much work and only a little bit over here, that means you're missing the gym. You're missing the beach. You're missing the activities. You're missing the things that really do it for you in life. You're missing the enjoyment. That's where you get your stress release. So you got to push it back in the middle. Now you're going to the gym. Now you're balancing. Now you have the me time. Now you have the family time, the love time, right? And then you have the work. And a lot of people, especially the professionals that I coach some pretty busy professionals. They don't see it until it's too late. And then they're all the way over here, and now they have to push to get back in the middle. And sometimes this little bit right here is a lot of effort. And sometimes it's as easy as saying no. Some people don't know how to say no. Some people want to please everybody. You can't be a people pleaser. Cannot. That's like taking a gaming control, putting it in somebody else's hands and say, okay, here, you control me. Go ahead. Go ahead. You control me. So thoughts become things because first we think the thought, then we feel the emotion. How does manifestation happen? You have to feel whatever it is, right? So you feel. You have to put emotions behind your intentions. You marry emotion and intention for manifestation. Why? Because when you do that, you start taking action on things. The next step is action. The next step is bringing it into the physical world. How do you do that from nothing? Well, maybe the thought is, I need a new car. When this thought becomes a belief in your subconscious will show you evidence of a new car or reasons why you should get a new car. And you'll start thinking. And then you'll take some sort of action. Maybe I should get a loan to get a new car. Maybe I should go test drive a new car. Maybe I should get a side job, a side hustle for a new car. Whatever it is, there's a myriad of possibilities. But you start thinking. Your subconscious will present you with evidence of it. Then what happens? Then as you take the baby steps towards the goal, which is the car, it will start to manifest. You know, I told this story a million times, but I'm going to give you an overview of it. Thank you, Ivana. Thank you. I'm going to give you an overview of it. The first time I bought my new car, I had to break the conditioning. And the conditioning was, you buy a good used car. That was the conditioning ever since I was a little kid, right? Oh, don't buy a new car. When you drive it off the lot, it depreciates. You're gonna lose money. Well, guess what? Guess when you really lose money? You really lose money when you buy a good used car around 60,000 miles, and about 75,000 miles, you start rebuilding the car. You start replacing the water pump, the radiator, right? The whatever, all of that. Cars rebuild themselves. I know it's a creative way of saying it, but they rebuild themselves. I can tell you that since 2007, I only have new car smell. That's all I know. The make and model of the car doesn't matter to me. I went with Infiniti for years and years. I had 4 different Infinitis, 3 years apiece. So 12 years of Infinitis. And now I'm on my 3rd Mercedes. I don't know if I'm going to get another Mercedes. I'm like, right now, I look at everything and I go, it's just another car. It's just another thing. But my goals have always been, okay, let me set this goal and let me see if it happens or not. And it always happens. Here, let me show you. So here, this is subconscious programming. Okay, so this, I'm that much into this one. But this is one that I finished. Okay. And these are not, this is not journaling. These are affirmations. These are direct orders into my subconscious. That's the affirmation part. The meditation part, right now I'm doing a longer meditation, but you only need 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's all you need. Right now I'm doing a 44-minute meditation followed by a 30-minute meditation. I just go one right into the other. I get up at 1 o'clock in the morning. I go to sleep about 7 at night. But I work straight through from 1 o'clock all the way to 7. There's no dip in the energy, nothing. It's just boom, 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 boom all day long. It's flow state. You can accomplish way more that way, be way more effective that way. But it takes some meditation. Not everybody can sit still. And it's because of our society and how it's filled with stimulus. Everybody's stimulated into something. Dopamine hits, all that stuff. But when you can calm for 5 minutes, then you try 10. Maybe just 8, and then from 8 to 10, like that, do it slowly. Everything in the universe works the same. Everything starts small and grows. That's the way everything's done. When you plant a seed, you don't get a tree tomorrow. You'll get it in a few years. You have to be patient. With manifestation, with goal setting, if you want to call it goal setting, we'll call it goal setting. But with manifestation and goal setting, it's the same thing. You have to go slowly. It depends on what it is, right? People say there's no speed for the universe or for God. And there really isn't. Because sometimes things happen overnight. And sometimes it takes a while. It depends on what it is. And everything is relative. It's the universal law of relativity. Everything is relative. So your vibration attracts because like attracts like. So if you're happy, you're going to attract happy people. If you're the kind of person that gets angry all the time, you're going to attract those people. Why is that? Because your subconscious learns to be angry. Your subconscious learns how to be bitchy. Your subconscious learns how to argue or be argumentative. And once you do it a few times, you begin to enjoy it. Why? Because you congregate with other people to do it. It's like gossip. And you start hanging out with people that are gossiping about the same thing. And pretty soon your subconscious learns how to gossip. And then what? And then you keep gossiping because your subconscious has you in that loop, has you in that program. How do you break the program? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Sometimes people are angry or they're triggered and they don't understand that they can break the cycle. They don't understand it's happening in their subconscious. And this is why love is so important. This is why love is so important. Because it's the highest emotional frequency. It cancels out the other stuff. You should always strive for the more positive emotions. Because the negative emotions will just create bad circumstances. So epigenetics takes form when your subconscious believes a certain thing, and then it starts firing certain switches in your DNA. And your subconscious has learned whatever it is that you're getting in the habit of doing, and your DNA will respond to it. So the part of your DNA that responds to stress will respond to negative thinking, to stressful thinking, to things that you think that stress you out. And your body chemistry will change to accommodate the subconscious belief. And this is why the subconscious works in healing. This is why the subconscious can be can be adjusted to heal, can be programmed to heal. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. It's not difficult. It's just a new habit to get into. I always use cookies as the example. You're at a party, you try a cookie, you go, wow, that's a good cookie. Pretty soon you go, hey, can I have another cookie? Yeah, okay, have another cookie. Wow, these are great cookies. Where do you get these cookies? Costco. Oh, okay. You know, before you know it, you're standing in line at a Costco in a couple of days holding the bag of cookies. Guess what? You have a cookie habit. It just took a couple of times. So how long does it take to change a bad habit? 63 days. Can you write for 63 days? I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident. Thank you. Can you write that once a day, every morning, for 63 days? Can you do that? If you can do that, you can fix anything. Anything in here. Jesus said the kingdom is in here. The power is in here. Your strength is in here. If you attach yourself to exterior things out here, you're going to lose yourself. You're going to lose your self-confidence. You're going to experience more anxiety, more overthinking, because you're attached to exterior things. You need to be attached to interior things, in here, in the kingdom. God is real, but God lives in here. You know, I know some people go to church all the time, but they're always attached to exterior things, things outside the kingdom. Their eyes look away from the kingdom, but they're preoccupied with the NFL team. They're preoccupied with episodes of drama or whatever they're following on Netflix. They're preoccupied with exterior things outside the kingdom. You need to spend more time in the kingdom. Seek and ye shall find. Jesus was talking about seeking inside, not outside, not out here. Knock and the door shall be open. You knock on the door from within. You ask from the inside. Ask, believe, receive. You ask on the inside. You believe on the inside. You receive on the inside, and then it shows itself on the outside. Esther Hicks calls it the vortex. It's a fancy name, vortex. She said, everything you want is in the vortex. She's right. Everything you want is in your subconscious. Everything you desire is in your subconscious. You attract who you are. And whoever you are will be attracted to you eventually. All the things that are in your subconscious. You don't like who you are? You can reprogram your subconscious. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. But you always get what you focus on. Why? Because you start taking steps towards it, and as you walk towards something, the doors open. But you have to believe in yourself when you're walking towards the door, or when you're walking towards the object, or when you're walking towards the final result. I have a business client, and the doors are starting to open for him, and he's been with me about 6 months. And the doors are finally starting to open. And he's seeing the first beginnings of success as far as he goes, as far as his world. The doors are beginning to open. Why? Because he's taking steps. He finally is starting to believe in himself. It takes a little while because you have to convince yourself. You have to convince yourself. You have to see yourself worthy. You have to convince yourself that you're worth it. You're worth the time. You're worth the energy. You're worth the effort. And that you deserve what it is you're aiming for. That you deserve your target. Because if not, you'll never get there. You can say, I want the new car, but if inside you're going, I don't know how that's going to happen, good luck. You'll probably never experience the new car. But if you have faith, if you ask and believe in your asking, without question, without second thoughts, you will receive. And that's the good news, because God is real. And Jay's over there going, see you tomorrow. We're on 7. I have nothing to sell you, so you can check out the science. We have the science posted on the website. It's hereforyoulifecoaching.com. And if you need help, I'll see you, but I'm not here to give you a sales pitch or tell you that there's only 2 minutes left to sign up or anything like that. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hawaii time. Thanks, guys.